Good morning. You may remember me from the panel discussion this morning. My name is Brian O'Reilly. I'm the General Manager at Ryder. For those of you who haven't heard of Ryder, Ryder is a full-stack generative AI platform. We power agentic workflows at the likes of Accenture, Goldman Sachs, L'Oreal, and many, many more enterprises. Over the past 5 years, we've had the privilege to witness firsthand the remarkable evolutions in the AI space. And today, I'm excited to unveil some fresh insights from our latest survey, which is hot off the press, and also to share some practical strategies in terms of how to help you navigate some of the challenges associated with AI adoption. As we discussed on the panel this morning, the AI that we have today can reason, self-orchestrate, and take action in other systems. This is the AI that can drive real change and real transformation. Unfortunately, the problem is that even though the technology is at this level, the business results are not. And when we double-click on actually what's happening within most enterprises, the data tells a pretty stark story. We've had the pleasure of working with hundreds of enterprises, and one thing has become very, very clear. AI adoption isn't just a tech challenge. It's a team sport with a playbook that is constantly evolving. Our latest research surveyed over 1,600 C-level executives, and some of the numbers speak volumes. 72% are running into serious adoption headaches, and a staggering 2 out of 3 say it's actually causing new organizational strains. In other words, AI isn't just shaking up workflows, it's shaking up org charts. As we examined the data from the survey, a few patterns began to emerge, and they tell a telling picture of what it really takes to make AI work across the enterprise. One of the clearest and most consistent tension points we uncovered was around ownership and control. And while this might sound dramatic, and don't shoot the messenger, I promise this is from the data, 42% of C-levels say that AI adoption is actively tearing their organization apart. That was actually a choice they selected on the survey. Not just slowing things down, but creating real power struggles over who owns the strategy, who makes the calls, and ultimately where AI lives within the organization. Here's where it really starts to break down. Without clear ownership, every team builds within a vacuum. Marketing spills up one application, sales spins up another agent, IT builds their own, and suddenly you end up with a sprawl of disconnected applications, disconnected agents that don't interact with each other. 71% of C-level executives say that AI is already being developed in silos. And when there's no shared vision, scaling is really challenging. And at the heart of it, and we frequently see this when we talk to large enterprises, we see this tug of war between IT and the business. The business wants to move fast, wants to experiment, wants to ship, wants to be nimble. IT wants to manage risk, ensure compliance, and keep things maintainable. Both are right, but without alignment, AI can get pulled in opposite directions. And this isn't a tooling problem, it's obviously a people one. The second tension that we saw across the board is the disconnect between the leadership's perception of what's happening and between the end user's perception of what's happening. While a lot of executives feel confident in their AI adoption efforts, only 45% of frontline users actually felt the same way. Many say that leadership talks a big game, but struggles to develop the tools, training, and impact that actually delivers impact. And there's also an issue around ROI and perceived impact. Companies are investing big in generative AI. In fact, a staggering 73% of companies surveyed are investing over $1 million a year in their generative AI initiatives, but only 1/3 actually are saying they're seeing impact from that investment. For many, it's starting to feel a little bit like the returns just aren't there or won't be for years. And that's creating real pressure. Justify the spend or obviously rein it back. The final, and maybe a somewhat overlooked tension that we observed is the barrier around employee trust. Nearly half of employees say that they're being left to figure out AI on their own. No training, no support, no context. And that disconnect is fueling real resistance. In some situations, it's actually fueling active pushback. And here's where it's really concerning. Nearly half of Gen Z workers say that they're actively working outside of their company's AI strategy. If people don't trust the tools or they don't understand the why behind the change, even the best systems won't scale. So, to recap, these are real challenges and they are stacking up. Together, they've created this kind of organizational gridlock where strategy is unclear, teams are misaligned, and momentum is stalling. As a result, a lot of companies are getting stuck, unsure of how to move forward, scale what's working, or even define what success looks like. And as we discussed on the panel this morning, with agentic AI, the bar is getting higher, and it's getting higher fast. We're moving beyond simple apps into multi-agent systems that can reason, take action, and drive outcomes with agency. We're talking about AI that can coordinate across teams, functions, transforming your most complex work processes into real-time impact and results. And here's the thing, this technology isn't 5 years away, it's here today. But unfortunately, like I mentioned, the gap between where the technology is at and where the people are at is actually widening. So how do we bridge this gap? We've talked about the 72% that are struggling. What about the 28% who aren't? There are companies who have made significant progress in scaling AI, moving from experimentation to real transformation. And the impact is seen in tangible business results, faster time to market, hard cost savings, revenue growth, and productivity gains that are letting them scale without adding headcount. So what does this actually look like in practice? We're very proud at Ryder to work alongside many of these fantastic enterprises. For example, within 1 year, AJ at Kenvue was able to deliver 87 use cases across 14 brands while taking out millions in agency spend. Ariel at Salesforce found in his first year using Ryder that his team were able to save 1 day a week each and take out, again, millions in agency spend. And finally, Hadley at Uber has very sophisticated custom AI agents that augment and support 40,000 customer service representatives worldwide. The companies that are pulling ahead aren't just deploying AI. They're rethinking how work gets done, how agents are built, deployed, and managed, and how IT and the business collaborate, innovate, and scale together. This is what it sounds like to become AI native. And we believe this is going to be a defining theme over the next decade with respect to how AI will transform the enterprise. We've had the privilege of spending thousands of hours working with these customers who are getting it right. And we've built a blueprint highlighting some of the commonalities that we've observed these successful companies exhibit. So I'm going to share a few of these observations with you now. Firstly, it starts with the right foundation. You need a tech stack that's reliable, accurate, and built for enterprise scale. That means enterprise-grade LLMs, a robust knowledge layer, a flexible application layer, and observability to ensure reliability at every step. Without that foundation in place, everything you build on top of that is at risk. But here's the challenge. Most solutions on the market weren't built for this type of scale. Today, enterprises are mostly choosing between two approaches. First is maybe what we would call a DIY path, typically within a hyperscaler environment. This path gives you deep customization, but it comes with the full burden of integration, development, governance, and performance, and you put all of this on internal teams. You end up stitching together parts of the infrastructure for every app, slowing delivery, and sometimes leaving the business users on the sideline. It can sound powerful in theory, but trust us, in practice, it is quite slow, fragmented, and often doesn't scale. On the other end of the spectrum, the second approach, you have point solutions, fast, off-the-shelf tools built for a narrow set of use cases. They promise speed, but they come with real trade-offs: limited control, scattered governance, growing security concerns as more vendors get access to highly sensitive data. The result is app sprawl, disconnected tools popping up across the organization with no aligned strategy. It's clear that neither approach, DIY or point solution, is going to deliver the real transformation that we need or expect across the enterprise. At Ryder, we believe the full stack approach, or an integrated approach, will likely become the dominant design for how enterprises deliver generative AI and agentic AI change. But even with the best tech, you can't transform what you haven't mapped. The next critical step is to map out how work flows through your organization. But too often, the reality in the enterprise, workflows are so fragmented, so complex, that even leaders have a hard time articulating them. And yet, companies try to layer on AI on top of this. They skip straight to implementation without understanding where AI can truly drive value. But with agentic AI, that shortcut doesn't work. Agents need structure. They need a defined workflow. They can't act on what isn't clearly defined. The teams that are making real progress with AI aren't jumping straight into solutions. They're starting by mapping out how work actually happens and where they can infuse generative AI into each step. They look at how work moves across functions, where it slows down, where it gets duplicated, and where some of the friction is. Once you have a clear picture, you can start to rebuild. This means making sure your organization is set up to actually execute cross-functionally and at scale, and building around how your business actually works. But too often, our people, our data, our systems are not connected. We have silos for as long as we've had knowledge work and software. Everybody's moving fast, but in different directions. We have different disconnected teams building disconnected solutions in disconnected environments. And one of the common breakdowns that we see is between IT and the business. Again, IT wants structure, wants control, wants compliance. Business wants speed, wants outcomes, and wants ownership. But without a shared view, a shared strategy, and a shared space to collaborate, you get friction and stalled adoption. To scale AI beyond a few teams, you need to eliminate the friction between systems, people, and data. In terms of what that looks like, this means bringing together, aligning roles and systems so that AI doesn't just live in one corner of the org, but becomes part of how the entire business runs. Enabling the right people to collaborate, build, use, and scale AI agents so that folks closest to the work play a real active work in designing and building these agents. Empowering builders and champions across your organization with the tools to confidently use AI in their daily work. The last step is choosing the right partner or set of partners. One of the clearest findings from the research is that 98% of C-level leaders believe that AI vendors should shape the vision of AI within their enterprise, or at least help shape that vision. Enterprises need more than a vendor, though. They need real boots on the ground that are going to really understand the ins and outs of their organization so they can help and support that AI strategy. The companies that are scaling AI the fastest aren't doing it alone. They're working with the right partner who can evolve with them from day one through to enterprise-wide deployment. So, to recap, while AI innovation is scaling exponentially, most enterprise results remain flat, underperforming and underwhelming. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. We have seen success in action and what's possible today. It takes the right technology foundation, mapped business processes, enabled teams, empowered people, and choosing the right technology partners. I'm very proud to say that some of that is what we have built and what we deliver at Ryder. Finally, a quick PSA. Ryder has some exciting product news related to our agentic capabilities, which is launching on April 10th. So feel free to join us on ryder.com on April 10th for that announcement. Thank you very much. I'll take some questions now.